Recently, I completed a National Living Dex in Pokemon Emerald. It was a lot of fun and felt super rewarding watching everything come together. So, today I'm gonna follow up on that challenge and complete a National Living Dex in Pokemon Crystal. That's 251 Pokemon caught across 6 different Pokemon games. The rules for this challenge is simple. I have to play through and catch every Pokemon available in the Generation 1 and 2 Pokemon games, and once I'm done, I have to trade them over to Pokemon Crystal to build the Living Dex. If you enjoy these Catch 'em All Living Dex videos, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. These videos take a long time to make, and your support definitely goes a long way. And if that doesn't convince you, I also have Generations 1 and 4 in the works, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. With my e-bagging done, let's begin the challenge. Now, unlike my previous challenge, I decided it would be a better idea to begin the challenge after defeating Red. This not only allows me to travel between the Johto and Kanto region easily without having to worry about the story getting in the way, but it also gives me the ability to catch all the Pokemon available in the game. I chose Cyndaquil as my starter Pokemon, and once I unlocked the ability to trade, I traded over Totodile from Pokemon Gold and Chikorita from Pokemon Silver, which completes my trio of the Johto starters. And just like you would have guessed, as I progressed through the game, all 3 starters evolved until they reached their final forms. Of course, I'm gonna have to breed for their first and second stages, but I will worry about that later on. I also caught and obtained a few rare Pokemon throughout my playthroughs, like Sudowoodo on Route 36, Gyarados at the Lake of Rage, Electrode from the Rocket Hideout in Mahogany Town, and Snorlax on Route 11 in the Kanto region. I even received a couple of free Pokemon, like an Egg of Togepi from Professor Elm, which happened to be shiny once I hatched it during my playthrough of Pokemon Gold, that evolved into Togetic, a Pichu that I received from the daycare on Route 34, a Shuckle from a trainer named Mania in Cianwood City, Tyrogue from the Karate Master in Mount Mortar after defeating him, Eevee from Bill in Goldenrod City, and a Dratini that knows extreme speed from the Dragon Clan's leader. Since evolution stones are harder to obtain in the second generation by either a certain trainer randomly calling you if they find one, or you wait for the post game and show Bill's grandfather a specific Pokemon, I decided it would be easier to obtain the other stone evolution Pokemon in my playthroughs of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, alongside the Eevee evolutions. I evolved Eevee into Umbreon in Pokemon Gold by having high friendship and leveling it up during the night. Eevee evolved into Espeon in Pokemon Silver by having high friendship and leveling it up during the day. Eevee evolved into Flareon in Pokemon Blue by using a Firestone on it. Eevee evolved into Jolteon in Pokemon Red by using a Thunderstone on it. And Eevee evolved into Vaporeon in Pokemon Yellow by using a Water Stone on it. If you're doing this challenge alongside me or using it as a guide and are having trouble raising your Pokemon's happiness, a very easy thing you can do is pay a visit to Goldenrod City's underground pathway and talk to the Haircut Brothers. Every day except for Mondays, you can either pay 300 to 500 Pokédollars to give your Pokemon a haircut and raise their happiness. Outside of the Eevee evolutions, the other Stone evolution Pokemon I got were Pikachu, which I caught in Viridian Forest, that evolved into Raichu with the Thunderstone. I caught Jigglypuffs on Route 3, one of which evolved into Wigglytuff with the Moonstone. In Mount Moon, I caught 2 Clefairies, one of which evolved into Clefable with another Moonstone. On Route 7, I caught a Vulpix and a Growlithe, which evolved into Ninetales and Arcanine after using Firestones on them. I caught a Poliwhirl in Celadon City after fishing with the Super Rod that evolved into Poliwrath with the Water Stone. On Route 13, just past the cycling road, I caught 2 Shelters with the Super Rod, one of which evolved into Cloyster after using a Water Stone on it. On Route 12, I caught a Weepinbell and Gloom that evolved into Victory Bell and Vileplume with Leaf Stones. In the Safari Zone, I caught 2 Executes, one of which evolved into Executor with the Leaf Stone. In Pokemon Yellow, I caught a Nidorina and a Nidorino on Route 23, which I evolved into Nidoking and Nidoqueen with 2 Moonstones. Finally, I caught 2 Staryus at Cinnabar Island, one of which I evolved into Starmie with the Water Stone. The next group of Pokemon I need are exclusive to the Generation 1 Pokemon games, and are only available in Generation 2 through the Time Capsule, which is basically the way you can trade with the Generation 1 games in Generation 2. While some of the Pokemon I included in this section are obtainable in Pokemon Crystal, obtaining them in the Generation 1 games are a lot easier or more convenient than in Pokemon Crystal. Starting things off are the 3 Cantonian starters. Bulbasaur, which I obtained in Cerulean City after showing Melanie that my Pikachu is happy with me. Charmander on Route 25 after defeating all the trainers on the Nugget Bridge. And Squirtle from Officer Jenny in Vermilion City after obtaining the Thunder Badge. All of these I obtained in Pokemon Yellow, and just like in my Pokemon Crystal playthrough, I evolved them all into their final stages as I progress through the game, and will have to breed later on to obtain their first and second stages. Mankey and its evolution Primeape that I caught on routes 3 and 23 are not available in Pokemon Crystal. The fossil Pokemon Ammonite, Kabuto, and Aerodactyl. I received the Dome and Helix fossil from Mount Moon, and the Old Amber from a scientist in Pewter City's Pokemon Museum, all of which I resurrected at the Pokemon Lab in Cinnabar Island. I want to note that you can trade for an Aerodactyl in Pokemon Crystal for a Chansey, but I recommend to just get it in the first generation Pokemon games, since Chansey has a 1% encounter rate. Next are all the legendary Pokemon that are only available in the Generation 1 games. I caught Articuno in the Seafoam Islands, Zapdos in the Power Plant, and Moltres in Victory Road. Mewtwo was found in Cerulean Cave, and the final legendary Pokemon Mew is a tricky one to obtain. Of course, you can always do the traditional Nugget Bridge Mew trick, however, there exists another method known as the 8F glitch, which allows you to use arbitrary code execution that changes its Mew's OT and trainer ID to match that of a Mew from an official distribution. In order to not make this video super long and confusing, I have left a video by Austin John Plays that goes into detail on how to perform this glitch. I followed this guide and managed to obtain a shiny Mew that can be transferred to Pokemon Home and into the later games if I chose to. The remaining Pokemon I got in the Generation 1 games can be obtained in Pokemon Crystal in one way or another, however I decided to get them now since it's more convenient. These Pokemon are Lapras from the Sylph Employee in Saffron City, Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee from the Fighting Dojo in Saffron City, and 2 Porygons from the Game Corner located in Celadon City. Surprisingly, Porygon only costs 6,500 coins in Pokemon Blue compared to 999 in Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Red. With all the Pokemon caught from the Generation 1 games, I decided to catch all the Pokemon that can only be found in Pokemon Gold and Silver. The very first one is really common in Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is the Mareep line. During my Pokemon Gold playthrough, as I was making my way south of Violet City passing through Route 22, I caught a Mareep. A bit later into my Pokemon Gold playthrough, I was making my way through Route 43 towards the Lake of Rage. Here, I caught 2 Flaffies, one of which I evolved into Ampharos at level 30. Outside of the Mareep line, Route 43 also has Girafarig, which is another Pokemon I was missing and can't be found in Pokemon Crystal. The final Pokemon exclusive to Gold and Silver I'm missing is located on Route 44. Here I caught 2 Remoraid's, one of which I evolved into Octillery at level 25. These are all the Pokemon I need, but before I begin the main challenge in Pokemon Crystal, I decided to trade over all the Pokemon I caught in the other games. I also want to make a special note of something that will be very useful for anyone following along. Since the second generation games introduced the day and night cycles, there are a couple of Pokemon available that only show up at certain times. Usually, you would have to wait for the time to change. However, there exists a way for you to change the time without any penalties. All you need is a password, and in order to figure that out, I found this website, linked to which is in the description. All you need to do is enter your trainer name, ID, and money into the website, which generates a password. From that point on, all you need to do is head over to the title screen with Suicune running and follow these steps on screen. If done correctly, you will be prompted to enter your password, which will force you to reset the clock as soon as you load up your save file. For everyone's convenience, morning is between 4 AM to 9:59 AM, the day is between 10 AM to 5:59 PM, and the night is between 6 PM to 3:59 AM. From this point on, I will be making note which Pokemon are available during a certain time. Now that I have the time mechanic explained, I flew back to New Bark City and made my way west to Route 29. Here I caught a Pidgey, a Rattata, and a Sentret. I also caught a Hoppip, which can only be caught during the morning, and a Hoot, which is only available at night. Just left of Route 29 is Cherry Grove City, and although there isn't any tall grass to find wild Pokemon, there is water where we can fish and surf. Here I caught a Tentacool and its evolution Tentacruel by surfing. I caught a Magikarp by fishing with an Old Rod, I caught a Corsola and a Krabby by fishing with a good rod, and a Kingler by fishing with a super rod. Heading north to Cherry Grove City is Route 30, where I caught a Caterpie and a Weedle, which can be caught during the morning and day. Ladybug, which is only available during the morning, while I caught a Spinnerack, Poliwag, and Zubat, which are only available at night. Finally, I caught 2 Poliwhirls in the small pond right of the house. North of Route 30 is Route 31, which has a brand new cave known as the Dark Cave, and has 2 entrances. One is closer to Violet City, which is the entrance I will be exploring now, and the other entrance is closer to Blackthorn City, which I will explore later on. On the Violet City side, I caught a Teddiursa, which is only available during the morning, a Geodude, and a Dunsparce, which are only available during the day and night. I caught a Goldeen by fishing with a good rod, and its evolution Seeking, which I caught by fishing using a super rod. Also, before leaving Route 31, I caught a Bellsprout. Passing through Violet City, I paid a visit to the Sprout Tower. Here I caught a Ghastly, which is only available at night. After finishing up there, I head south of Violet City and into Route 32, where I caught a Wooper, which is only available during the night, Ekans, which is only available during the morning and day, and Quillfish, which I caught by fishing using a super rod. Before heading through the Union Cave, I paid a visit to the ruins of Elf, which is west of Route 31. After solving a puzzle which required me to slide some puzzle pieces around until it resembled a Kabuto, I fell into the basement floor, which allowed me to catch an unknown. In order to get the rest of the Pokemon available in the ruins of Elf, I need to pass through the Union Cave, and while I was passing through it, I caught a Sandshrew, which is only available during the morning and day, as well as 2 Onyxes, one for keeping as an Onyx and the other for evolving into Steelix later on. After exiting the Union Cave from its basement floor, I was able to access the tall grass in the ruins of Elf. Here, I caught a Smeargle, which is only available during the morning and day, as well as 2 Natus, one for keeping as a Natu and the other one for evolving into Xatu. Now that I caught all the Pokemon in the Union Cave in the ruins of Elf, I made my way through Union Cave again and passed through Route 33, where I caught a Spearow, which is only available during the morning. Heading northwest, I entered the Slowpoke Well. Here, I caught 2 Slowpokes on the first floor while surfing since it has a 100% encounter rate, and on the basement floor, I caught a Slowbro, which has a 10% encounter rate while surfing. Before leaving the Slowpoke Well, I made sure to talk to this trainer who gave me the King's Rock, which will be useful for evolving Slowpoke into Slowking later. Located east of Azalea Town is the Ilex Forest. This maze-like forest has a ton of Pokemon I need to catch, like Kakuna and Metapod, which are only available during the morning and day. At night, I caught a Psyduck, Venonat, and an Oddish, and finally, I caught a Paris. The Ilex Forest also introduced encounters by Headbutting Trees. Through this, I was able to catch 2 Pinecoles, Noctowl, Beedrill, and Butterfree. With all the Pokemon I needed from the Ilex Forest taken care of, I made my way north onto Route 34. Here I caught a Snubbull, which is only available during the morning and day, Abra, Ditto, and Drowsy, which is only available during the night. Just north of Goldenrod City is Route 35. Here I caught 1 brand new Pokemon, Yanma, which took me some time to find since it has a 1% encounter rate. But that isn't the only brand new bug-type Pokemon I need, since the National Park, which is located north of Route 35, has even more bug-type Pokemon I need. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, the bug-catching competition is held, here allowing me to catch 2 Scythers, one for Scyther and the other for Scizor, and a Pinsir. I also managed to win 2 of the bug contests, which rewarded me 2 Sunstones that I will use to evolve 2 other Pokemon later on. Outside of the bug catching contest, the National Park also has some other Pokemon I need, like Nidoran Male and Nidoran Female, which are both only available during the morning and evening, as well as Sunkern, which I caught 2 of, and are only available during the day. Passing through Route 36, there isn't anything I need. However, if you're playing along with me and you don't have any way of trading with the first generation Pokemon games, be sure to talk to Schoolboy Alan, who has a chance of calling you whenever he finds a Firestone. Heading north of Route 36 is Route 37. Here I caught 2 Pidgeotos, which are only available during the morning and day, Ladian, which is only available during the morning, Stantler, which is only available at night, and Ariados, which is also only available at night. With Route 36 taken care of, I head north into Ecruteak City, which has 2 branching paths to check out. But before I see what each path has to offer, I decided to visit the Burn Tower where I caught 2 Coffings and Eradicate. West of Ecruteak City is Route 38. Here I caught a Magnemite, Miltank and Tauros, which are only available during the morning and day, and finally a Meowth, which is only available at night. Since Route 39 shares the same encounters as Route 38, there isn't anything I need. South of Route 39 is Olivine City, and west of that is Route 40, where there is a ton of water, but further down Route 41, which has a Pokemon I need, Mantine. Route 41 also houses the Whirl Islands. Inside these islands, I caught 2 Seals, which is only available during the morning and day, 2 Seadras, and a Horsey. Returning back to Ecruteak City and heading to the east this time is Route 42. There is an entrance to another cave named Mount Mortar here. I caught 2 Machokes, which are only available during the morning and day, as well as a Machop. I also made sure to grab the Dragon Scale from the upper floor section of Mount Mortar, which is useful for evolving one of my Seadras later on. After exploring Mount Mortar, I arrived on the other side of Route 42, where the tall grass is. Here, I caught a Pharaoh and an Arbok, which are only available during the morning and day, as well as 2 Marrows and 2 Golbats that are only available at night. Just a bit further east of Route 42 is Mahogany Town, and where there isn't much here, heading north to Route 43 does. Here, I caught a Farfetch'd and a Furret, which are only available during the morning and day, as well as a Venomoth, which is only available at night. Returning back to Mahogany Town and heading east this time, I arrived on Route 44. Here I caught a Lickitung, which is only available during the morning and day, Tangela, and Weeping Bell. After catching all the Pokemon I need on Route 44, I made my way through the Ice Path. Here I caught 2 Swinubs, which are only available during the morning and day, Jinx, which is also only available during the morning and day, Delibird, which is only available at night, and Sneasel, which is also only available at night. On the other side of the Ice Path is Blackthorn City, which doesn't have any new Pokemon I need to catch, but just north of Claire's Gym is the Dragon's Den, which does. Here, I caught 2 Dragonairs by fishing with the Super Rod. Exiting south of Blackthorn City is Route 45, which has a ton of new Pokemon I need, as well as the Blackthorn entrance of Dark Cave. On Route 45, I caught a Donphan, which is only available during the morning and day, Skarmory, which is only available during the morning and night, 2 Gravelers, Gligar, and Phanpy, which is only available in the morning. Heading inside the Dark Cave from the Blackthorn City side allows me to catch Ursaring, which is only available during the morning and day, as well as Wobbuffet, which is only available during the night. Now that I caught all the remaining Pokemon in the Dark Cave I was missing, I made my way back to Newbark Town and surfed west towards Route 27 in Tojo Falls. Here, I was able to catch a Lantern in its pre-evolution Chinchou after fishing with the Super Rod, Doduo in its evolution Dodrio, which is only available during the morning and day, as well as a Ponyta and a Quagsire, which is only available at night. Heading north of Route 27 is Route 26, which only has 1 new Pokemon I need, Sandslash. It is only available during the morning and the day. Heading even further north is the Pokemon League Gate that has 3 different paths. The northern path leads to Victory Road, which has 2 Pokemon I need, Rhyhorn and its evolution Rhydon, which is only available during the morning and day. Heading back south through the Pokemon League Gate and west this time takes me to Route 28 and the exterior of Mount Silver. Here, I caught a Rapidash, which is only available during the morning and day. In the inside of Mount Silver, I caught a Golduck and a Mischievous, which are only available during the night. Magmar and 3 Larvitar, which are only available during the morning and day. And finally, a Parasect. Heading back through the Pokemon League Gate and heading east this time takes me to Route 22. And while there isn't any Pokemon I need here, I can pass through Viridian City and head down south, passing through Route 1 and Pallet Town, until I reach Route 21, where I caught a Mr. Mime, which is only available during the morning and day. Backtracking to Viridian City and passing through Route 2, which replaced Viridian's Forest, is Diglett's Cave. And just like the cave's name suggests, I caught a Diglett and 2 Dugtrios. Returning back to Route 2 and heading north is Pewter City, which doesn't have any new Pokemon I need, but a really important item named the Silverwing that would allow me to catch a special Pokemon later on. Traveling west of Pewter City are a couple of locations that don't have any new Pokemon I need. However, once I reached Cerulean City and head north, I arrived on Route 24 where I caught 2 Glooms, which are only available at night. West of Route 24 is Route 25, and while this route doesn't have any new Pokemon I need to catch, I wanted to make a special note that Bill's house is here, where you can get the evolution stones from in Pokemon Crystal. If you show Bill's grandfather the following Pokemon, you will get the appropriate evolution stones. However, I still recommend that trading over the stone evolution Pokemon would be a lot easier. Heading south to Cerulean City is Route 5, which doesn't have any new Pokemon I need, but if you continue south, you will eventually end up in Saffron City. And if you pay a visit to the Silphco building and speak to the officer here, you can get an upgrade, which is useful for evolving Porygon. Just south of Saffron City is Route 6, where I caught a Granbull, which is only available during the morning and day. After finishing up on Route 6, I made my way south one last time and arrived in Vermilion City. Once here, I made my way west past Diglett's Cave and onto Route 11, where I caught a Hypno, which is only available during the night. Passing through Route 12 and south from there is Route 13. Here I caught a Nidorino and a Nidorino, which are only available during the morning and day. And finally, two Chances, which took me so long to find thanks to its 1% encounter rate. Passing through Route 14 is where I caught two Skiplooms, which are only available during the morning. Skipping past Fuchsia City is Route 18, which has a couple of Pokemon I need, like Grimer and its evolution Muck. I caught two Slugmas, which are only available during the day, and a Murkrow, which is only available at night. East of Celadon City is Route 7. Here, I caught two Houndours and a Persian, both of which are only available at night. Just past the Saffron City gate is Route 8. Here, I caught two Haunters and two Kadabras, both of which are only available at night. Just a little bit more to the west is Lavender Town, which doesn't have any Pokemon you can encounter anymore since the Pokemon Tower got turned into a radio tower. Heading up north of Lavender Town is the Rock Tunnel. Here, I caught a Cubone in its evolution Marowak. I also caught a Kangaskong, all of which are only available during the morning and day. On the other side of Rock Tunnel is Route 9, which doesn't have any Pokemon I need, so I headed west towards the water and surfed south towards the power plant. Here, I caught a Voltorb and an Electabuzz, which are only available during the morning and day. Inside of the power plant is a worker who traded me a Magneton for my second Dugtrio, which just so happens to be holding another Metacoat, which will be useful for evolving my Onix later on. These are all the Pokemon I need from the Kanto region, so I made my way back to New Bark Town. The next Pokemon I'm about to catch are usually hard to find since they can only be found in trees that you can headbutt. All headbuttable trees contain wild Pokemon, but different trees have different chances of creating an encounter after headbutt is used. With that being said, there is a way to determine which trees in the game have a special encounter using a complex equation. However, I found a tool online that will just show you which trees have the rare Pokemon in, link to which is in the description. In my specific case, this map showed me that I have a rare tree containing two Pokemon I need just west of Azalea Town, behind the Slowpoke Well. This allowed me to catch a Heracross and an Aipom. These are the last two Pokemon I need to catch that aren't legendary Pokemon. Next, I decided I wanted to evolve all the Pokemon that requires me leveling them up, high friendship, evolution stones, or by trading. The best way I found to level up my weak Pokemon was by switch training them inside or outside Mount Silver. This allowed me to evolve Larvitar into Pupitar at level 30, and Pupitar into Tyranitar at level 55, Slugma into Magcargo at level 38, Skiploom into Jumpluff after leveling it up once, Chansey into Blissey with high friendship, Dragonair into Dragonite at level 55, Swinub into Piloswine at level 33, Tyrogue into Hitmontop at level 20. To make this easy, just use one protein and an iron on it in order to have an equal attack and defense stat. Seal into Dugong at level 34. Coughing into Wheezing at level 35. Pidgeotto into Pidgeot at level 36. Pineco into Fortress at level 31. Natu into Xatu at level 25. Houndour into Houndoom at level 24. Golbat into Crobat with high friendship. Meru into Azumarill at level 18. Ammonite into Amistar at level 40. Kabuto into Kabutops at level 40, Gloom into Bellossom with the Sunstone, Sunkern into Sunflora with the Sunstone, Porygon into Porygon 2 by trading holding an upgrade, Haunter into Gengar by trading, Kadabra into Alakazam by trading, Machoke into Machamp, Seadra into Kingdra by trading holding a Dragon Scale, Scyther into Scizor by trading holding a Metal Coat, Slowpoke into Slowking by trading while holding a King's Rock, Onix into Steelix by trading while holding a Metal Coat, Poliwhirl into Politoed by trading while holding a King's Rock, and Graveler into Golem by trading. With almost all the evolutions taken care of, I decided I wanted to work on breeding all the Pokemon I was missing. So back on Route 34, I visited the daycare and deposited a Ditto there with the other Pokemon I needed to hatch a Tyrogue, a Cleffa, Elekid, Smoochum, Jigglypuff, Magby, 2 Bulbasaurs, 2 Squirtle, 2 Charmanders, 2 Cyndaquils, 2 Chikorritas, 2 Totodiles, Ammonite, and Kabuto. Now that I hatched all the Pokemon I was missing, I worked on evolving them. To do this, I just revisited the Ilex Forest and battled the wild bug-type Pokemon there. By doing this, I was able to evolve Charmander into Charmeleon at level 16, Squirtle into Wordturtle at level 16, Bulbasaur into Ivysaur at level 16, Cyndaquil into Quilava at level 14, Chikorita into Bayleaf at level 16, and Totodile into Croconaw at level 18. These are the final non-legendary Pokemon I was missing. Now it's time to work on the legendary Pokemon. First up are the roaming Pokemon, which can be annoying to catch since they will flee after the first turn of battle. I also want to make a special note that I have left a helpful in-depth guide, link to which is in the description of this video, to help those who need help trapping the roaming beasts with either a Pokemon that can inflict status or a Pokemon that can trap them with Mean Look. In my specific case, since I had to play through Pokemon Gold and Silver, I just traded over the Master Balls from those games, which made catching them a lot more easier. Earlier on in this challenge, I managed to find and catch Raikou back on Route 31, while I was catching the other wild Pokemon there. Next up is Entei, which I didn't encounter while traveling through the Johto region. So in order to find it, I have a strategy. First, make sure to have a Pokemon with Fly and a couple of Max or Super Repels, as well as a Pokemon that is at level 40 or below. Once you have that, fly to Ecruteak City, spray your Repel, and make your way down from Route 37 to Route 36, then to Route 35. If you don't find it while exploring these routes, fly back to Ecruteak City and repeat these steps until you find it. With Raikou and Entei now caught, it's time to catch the final dog to complete the trio. Thankfully, it's not roaming like it was in Pokemon Gold and Silver. After taking care of Team Rocket and Goldenrod City's radio tower, the director should have given you a clear bell as thanks. With the clear bell in hand, I headed over to the Tin Tower and I caught Suicune. Funnily enough, the next legendary Pokemon I needed to catch is also located in the Tin Tower. In order to catch it, I first needed to get the Rainbow Wing. In order to obtain it, all you need to do is catch all 3 legendary roaming beasts, then talk to Eusine in the Celadon City's Pokemon Center. Once you have done that, you need to travel back to the Tin Tower and speak to the Elder who will give you the Rainbow Wing. And after climbing to the top of the tower, I challenged and I caught Ho-Oh. Moving away from Ecruteak City, I set out for the Whirl Islands, and after stumbling my way through the cave and resetting 3 times, I caught Lugia. The final legendary Pokemon I need to catch is exclusive to the Virtual Council re-release of Pokemon Crystal. In order to begin this event, I made my way to the Pokemon Center in Goldenrod City, where I received the GS Ball. With this event item in hand, I flew over to Azalea Town and paid Kurt a visit and gave him the GS Ball to examine. Fast forward 24 hours, and Kurt talks about how the GS Ball would often move while he was examining it, and he runs out his house. After walking outside and speaking with Kurt, he tells me how the Ilex Forest has grown restless and that I should go check and get out, as well as giving me back the GS Ball. So I headed over to the Ilex Forest, and after examining the shrine and slotting in the GS Ball, Celebi flew down and challenged me to a battle. And after a couple of Great Balls, I caught Celebi, bringing my Johto Pokedex total to 251 and completing my Generation 2 Living Dex. But, of course, I couldn't let the video end without seeing the diploma for completing the dex. So after flying to Celadon City and heading to the 3rd floor where the game designer is, I spoke with him and he awarded me this amazing diploma. If you all enjoyed this and want more videos, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, take it easy.